For more, let's welcome in Kentucky Congressman and Chairman of the House Oversight Committee, James Comer. Good morning, Congressman. So I want to start with the investigation into the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. We learned nothing from now former Director Cheadle, but FBI Director Christopher Wray gave some new information yesterday. Take a listen.
We are investigating the shooter both to determine his motive and his preparations and activities before the shooting, but also to make sure whether or not there are any co-conspirators, accomplices.
At this point, have you developed any evidence to so suggest that there are any accomplices or cooperators or assisters?
Not at this time, but again, the investigation is ongoing.
So now we're learning a little more about the shooter, Congressman, and I know the House voted a few days ago to create a task force to further investigate the assassination attempt because we're essentially still in the dark on how this went so wrong. How do we get answers and transparency here?
Well, you know, with Christopher Wray's FBI, I don't know how you get answers. I mean, we're still waiting for answers for simple questions that we've asked about various probes months and months ago. But at the end of the day, I think Christopher Wray knows every American wants to know what really happened. And I think Christopher Wray saw what happened to Director Cheadle when she testified before my committee and didn't answer any questions. She didn't last 24 hours after that committee was over, and I don't think he wanted to repeat that. So he said a few things that I think were interesting, a few things that I think Americans wanted to know about. But at the end of the day, we have many more questions, and hopefully this new commission that the House unanimously approved last night will be able to get to the bottom of a lot of questions that we have.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know during the oversight hearing Monday, you grilled Cheadle on the claim that the sloped roof was too unsafe for law enforcement officers to be on. And then a video was released a day later of Secret Service on that sloped roof after killing the shooter. What was your reaction to that?
Well, look, you know, that never made sense. And Director Cheadle, as I said in my questioning of her, I think she answered more questions with ABC News in her interview after the shooting than she did in front of Congress. But at the end of the day, you know, growing up on a farm and dealing with lots of metal roofs, that's not a very sloped roof. I could tell from the picture, and there the video you're showing proves that. To say that the roof was too sloped, especially when the roof that the sniper who exterminated the shooter was on was a lot more sloped than that one. That just wasn't a good answer. And every American could see that. So the fact that Director Cheadle wasn't forthcoming with that is a problem. What we believe, the reason that there weren't Secret Service on that roof is because it was too hot. Look, it was a hot day. It was outside. And I can guarantee you that roof was scalding hot, but that's not an excuse. I mean, you've got to prepare for that, and you've got to have security at all the high points. That's common sense, and you know, it's just really a sad day for the Secret Service that shooter was allowed to get on that roof with a gun, to crawl all across that roof, even when people noticed the shooter, and get off 8 shots before he was exterminated.
Yeah, I want to pivot now to President Biden's address last night, 11 minutes. And in those 11 minutes, 7 times he mentioned the need to defend democracy. That seemed to be the narrative last night. We were hoping to get more of an explanation as to why he dropped out of this race, but I felt like we didn't. What did you make of his remarks last night?
No, Joe Biden just slapped democracy in its face. He did not allow any Democrat to file for president. Even you look at Robert F. Kennedy, who wanted to run as a Democrat. They squeezed him out. They changed the rules. They switched the states around. Iowa and New Hampshire always go first, but the Democrats switched it around to South Carolina. They did everything they could to prevent anyone from running for president. They assured everyone that Joe Biden was healthy and he was going to run for president. Then after all the states cast their ballots, 14 million ballots, then he drops out and handpicks his successor in a smoke-filled room. This is the biggest slap to the face of democracy that I've ever witnessed. We all know Joe Biden isn't in good enough health. He wasn't in good enough health when he filed. They knew that they always had this option. If he wasn't polling well enough against Donald Trump, that he could pull out. They knew they had the liability of all the financial crimes that his family's committed that we've proven in our investigation. Joe Biden had the liability of his horrible track record, and Joe Biden had the liability of just being a crappy candidate. So they are the party that slapped democracy in its face, and last night was a perfect example.